You know what, graffiti is always like controversial, and I can imagine that maybe some of you will not agree with all what you will see in the film. But yeah, there are people, they do this, they exist, and this was life story. And graffiti has many faces, which we try to show in the film. In every country you go, graffiti is different. It's always connected with culture, history, and society. And after the film, there will be discussion, so we can discuss about what you have seen. And so again, thank you for coming. I hope you'll enjoy it. And if not, then sorry.
Street active lifestyle.
But you have to understand this film. It's focused on girls. But in the end, it's about graffiti. In graffiti, the gender does not matter. I tried to put the girls from Middle East into the movie, but you have to understand that in Middle East, graffiti exists just since 2011, which was the revolution in the Middle East, which is very few short time. So there is not really like graffiti scene. The old graffiti is kind of political. And I tried to put them in the film, but most of the time, if I did, for example, I could not go to Yemen or Syria to talk with them. And most of the time when I talk with them via Skype, next to them were their husbands, and for me it was not like girl power to show girls speaking next to their husbands and check what they telling. So I decided to put there just pictures where they were their self and they were just making their stuff on the street. And I put them at the end of the film because I feel like my story or my some kind of journey and up, but many girls, they, for example, in Middle East, they start their fight. So film ending, but at the same time also starting.
Street.
First thing, I decided to choose the girls by how long they're doing graffiti, and for me it was important that they do it minimum 10 years, because I was like, it's enough, you are really in it. And then I was choosing them by many different reasons. For example, the longest active, the first, but also style or something interesting when it comes to gender, like Pamela Castro in Brazil, which started to be illegal graffiti writer, and now she's next to the Hillary Clinton.
Street.
I just wanted to catch the emancipations of women in graffiti, because 10-15 years ago there was almost no girls. And I started to do graffiti or thinking about this film when there was no Instagram, no Facebook, no YouTube. So graffiti writers were not really connected. We didn't know each other, and it was very hard to meet. I was looking for Donna from Madrid, you saw in the movie, 5 years to find her. And in every country, or most of the countries, graffiti is crime. So you don't need to talk, or graffiti writers are not interested to talk to camera about what they do, because they feel that normal people will never ever understand them, and the people they do that, they understand, so there's like no reason to do it. You know, you have to understand that, for example, in Europe as a girl, it was very hard to get into graffiti magazines, into the movies, because there was no social media where you was allowed to promote yourself without the subculture. You had to be respected by subculture to be in graffiti magazine, and if you was in graffiti magazine, then German graffiti writers were allowed to paint with you, but if you did not make the name, no one also wanted to paint in Europe, for example, with you.
Street.
Mexico City is a huge city. It's a jungle, if I can say like that. And that's why graffiti works here super a lot, because graffiti works just in the big cities, not in villages. And in the big cities, you usually have a lot of people, and not everybody have chance to be here, talk, be visible. So, of course it works. Everywhere you can go on the street. In Mexico you can see graffiti, and very often it's political graffiti. And so yeah, I really love Mexican graffiti, and here are really good stylers. And I also know some girls, they rocking here, which is cool. It's not many, but they are.
Street.
That, you know, in the big cities you have usually rich and poor people. If you are rich, you can buy the space, the public space. If you will paint graffiti on the street, you will catch by police. As the guys told me yesterday, you will be about 36 hours at the police station, then you will pay fine, because it's crime. For example, in Mexico, almost every second metro you have in your system, it's full of advertising. Like every second metro, it's stick by advertising. Yeah, and sometimes it's promotion for alcohol or Sometimes the advertising can be sexist, or cigarettes, or even, for me, worse things than graffiti. Yeah, but if you ask politics or mayor or people why I have to watch it, even you don't want to watch it, the answer will be they paid the space. But not everybody has money to buy the space. So there are simply people, they take the space. That's graffiti. Yeah.
Street.
It's changing a lot, graffiti. It's changing a lot. On the one side, you can get very easily to be connected with other graffiti writers. Sometimes it's bad for graffiti writers because everybody had smartphones and people uploading everything on internet. Even you don't want to do it, people do it. And for example, I had a friend in Manchester and he should go to prison for the graffiti in Manchester in UK, and he and his friend, they decide to leave to Asia to live there, and they painted in Singapore, like some streets and some stuff, everything was okay, but because in UK they put their names and their graffiti online, that they search for them, so they compare the pictures they took on the street with the Google pictures. And that's how they found their name, and next day they pick up them in the hotel, and for 3 graffiti pieces they end up for 5 months in the prison in Singapore.
Street.
It's up to who, same like painters, some people want to be visible, some people want to be less visible, some people feel they're artists. Everybody is different, that's why everybody has own crew and it's focused on something. The thing is that everybody is different, and I was always like, I don't care what other people do. I think it's important that you feel satisfied with what you do. And when you start to do graffiti, you want to meeting people, you want to see special places, you want to make your name. And I understand that's how you are getting to be older and you have, for example, family, and so you thinking twice, you don't want to be that selfish, to think just about you. And of course there are many people who will not agree, they will be like, hey, it's not good to get commercial, but to me I think it's always up to people, and if they decide it's their way of life and it's their direction, I just respect. Sometimes people invest like 20 hard years into graffiti and they've never ever seen any penny from it, so it makes sense that that's the best thing they can do, or they are very good and they would want to make a little bit of money of it. But for me, I decided graffiti will stay my hobby. I didn't want to make it like job or something. For me, I want always enjoy it to the fullest and not be stressed by that. But I also understand the people, they don't respect this, because the graffiti always been something against the system, or a bit, and something on the street. And of course, if you put graffiti into gallery, it's the same like if you put tiger into zoo, it's still the tiger, but it's not wild anymore. And usually the people who buy the street art in the galleries are business managers, and you know what, like it's a bit, but of course it's up to you, and you can always say no and yes for some projects. So there are people like Ojemos, or some people, they are very good street artists and graffiti writers, and they still respect the roots, and every person is different, so I respect.
Street.
And yeah, in my life I now do a lot of projects. I teach people to do graffiti. Usually it's like non-commercial stuff. So I teach old people, like for example I had a workshop with 96 years old lady, teach her graffiti.
Sigue en el camino. Street Active Lifestyle.